It was a moment of transcendent sports agony virtually unprecedented for the British royal family. As England's valiant bid to capture their first major international soccer trophy in nearly 6 decades imploded in devastating fashion against Spain, television cameras at London's Wembley Stadium focused in on a singularly crestfallen Prince William visibly dissolving into a heartbroken, tear-streaked mess in the luxury suite. With wife Kate Middleton and their 3 young children looking on solemnly, the long-standing president of the Football Association, devoted 3 Lions diehard, was captured removing his glasses and burying his face in his hands, sobbing and shaking uncontrollably mere seconds after Spain's Ansu Fati fired home the decisive penalty kick to clinch La Roja's 2-1 triumph in the Euro 2024 final. You could just see this utter devastation completely consuming William in those first raw moments after the final whistle, described BBC pitchside correspondent Jake Humphreys. It was such a powerful, vulnerable image of pure emotion even for someone in his immensely public position. Indeed, the 42-year-old Duke of Cambridge, who has championed English football like a civic sacred creed ever since the highs of their shock 2022 World Cup semi-final run in Qatar, appeared too inconsolable for mere words as the cruel reality set in. After tracking every nerve-shredding second of England's tense, back-and-forth battle against the powerhouse Spaniards on the very grounds where he celebrated childhood memories of Euro '96, William was filmed unleashing a torrent of stunned anguish during the trophy ceremony, slumping further into his padded chair with a 1,000-yard stare, smacking his thigh and shaking his head slowly as if pleading for the result to be overturned. At one point, the clearly distraught grandson of Queen Elizabeth II ripped off his England tie and appeared to unleash a furious volley of feverish groans that several amateur lip readers decoded as "blast, codswallop," and "not the footy we deserved, you bastards." Whether those transcriptions were precisely accurate or not, footage of William's emotional display quickly went viral across global soccer communities. It took several consoling embraces from Kate and huddles with emotional support staff before the ashen future king could even be coaxed to lead the customary handshake line participating English players, who likewise were devastated beyond comforting words after squandering a chance to deliver England's first major title since 1966's World Cup breakthrough. "Just a full-on gut punch seeing Will's that distraught, you know," said Liverpool defender Trent Alexander-Arnold, who converted on his penalty attempt in vain before Fati's shootout winner for Spain. "That's a man who absolutely bleeds 3 Lions and has channeled this entire transformative process, propelling the national side back into being a force after years of underachievement and embarrassment." He added, "To see him completely crumble like that over us ultimately coming up short was more soul-crushing than even the result itself." While posing with the runner-up trophy and silver medals, photos captured William looking as physically and emotionally shattered as perhaps any public figure in recent memory, even more despondent than his cherished grandfather Prince Philip upon being infamously ejected from the 1986 World Cup quarter-final for fighting Diego Maradona. The Daily Mail, who sent one of its biggest fleets of paparazzi to Wembley, captured William insisting on bringing the second-place hardware into England's locker room apparently to physically reinforce the sensations of agonizing failure. According to their reporters, the devoted fan allegedly apologized profusely to manager Gareth Southgate and captain Harry Kane for letting them down by being unable to sufficiently channel the royal spiritual mana toward imposing our sovereign sporting supremacy. Eventually, it took cordon of private security personnel physically grasping the distraught prince and gently guiding him into a waiting Range Rover to depart the stadium after nearly 30 minutes of openly weeping within view of cameras and spectators alike. According to Dame Emma Thompson, who was on hand at Wembley filming a Brexit documentary and witnessed portions of the emotional aftermath unfold, William's torment reached shockingly tragic levels reminiscent of Lear on the bloody heath. "I honestly feared at several points he might suffer an outright psychogenic malady over the enormity of this sporting and psychic trauma," Dame Emma disclosed during a BBC News interview. "Never before have I seen a biologically ingrained, almost shamanic connection to the prospect of English football glory so viscerally embodied and devastated in another human soul. It was borderline delirious." Unsurprisingly, takes swiftly flowed from pundits, academics, psychologists, and supporters dissecting this uniquely vulnerable side of William. Many feel added a whole new depth of relatability to the oft-deified future monarch. Some have hailed his ability to outwardly grieve as a quasi-Renaissance man in tune with England's emotional heartbeat as English masculinity evolved beyond its traditionally repressed, stiff upper lip confines. To see the Prince of Wales so transparently shattered yet simultaneously open and accessible in his agony is precisely why he remains such an invaluable asset to the Crown's shifting modern identity, wrote The Guardian's Simon Jenkins. What nation wouldn't embrace a noble sovereign thoroughly inhabiting the civic herd of any monumental missed opportunity with tears and emotive pride, no longer robotically steeled behind palace barricades but bravely on display for the full bonding of countrymen in collective, visceral solidarity? Other cultural critics have lauded William's flagrant, uncensored vulnerability towards soccer as a cathartic reminder that even icons ensconced in wealth and privilege still share the same capacities for unbridled passion, heartbreak, and longing for sporting glory as any commoner. This is a man who'd no doubt deeply processed all the trauma of losing his mother Princess Diana at such a tender age, only to eventually evolve into a global exemplar of actively combating toxic masculinity's constraints on emotional expression, noted acclaimed psychoanalyst Dr. Jennifer Schwartz. And in this instance, he personified how thoroughly football fandom and English identity itself have bridged into such profound, almost spiritual conduits of vulnerability. Schwartz went on to applaud William as a potential crusader toward reshaping destructive cultural scripts about manhood that have frequently led to unresolved mental health crises, domestic violence, and substance abuse bred from unhealthy repression. Often it's tragic idols like Paul Gascoigne or George Best who channeled such overwhelming pain from suppressed emotion into self-harm following devastating athletic highs and lows, she explained. So for the heir apparent to the British throne to demonstrate that healthy grieving avenue wearing his heart on his sleeve, not surrendering his tears and anguish to abject stoicism, stands as a paragon men of all backgrounds would be wise to emulate. In the short term, however, that ideal of progress has offered little tangible solace to William or the nation he'll one day reign over. Tabloid reporters dutifully staked outside his residential palace have described large crowds gathering to sing defiant chants of "Three Lions," and console their stricken prince, whose feelings remain beyond raw for any initial statements. One colorful report detailed a willowy Cockney flower vendor maneuvering through that throng to deliver a handwritten note and bouquet of English roses addressed to William from her struggling small business. While the contents remain private, she divulged the inscription urged His Royal Highness to uphold his head and remember how these were merely rare goods left unshipped, not a reputational voyage irretrievably lost. Perhaps only time will tell if such well wishes from downtrodden commoners provides enough spiritual balm to heal one of the most despondent royal psyches in recent memory. Further reports indicate William's doting grandmother, the former Queen Camilla, has offered to personally journey from Her Majesty's Clarence House residence to deliver some reassurance over tea and cucumber sandwiches. According to Windsor Castle maids, the 96-year-old monarch herself apparently half-jokingly urged the grieving prince to keep on smiling, and wished she was younger with more spry offering hugs, knowing England's eventual Qatar World Cup woes were hardly worth permanently tarnishing William's celebrated love of life. For his part, the fraternal lion-hearted Prince Harry has offered to fly in from his California home and embark on another of their famous therapeutic ginger and bloke sessions where the two brothers candidly share battle stories about overcoming various mental health struggles. While unclear if that is in the works, many have already begun lauding Harry for wisely prioritizing family over Frogmore Cottage drama. For the Duke of Sussex to encourage his sibling processing such a crushing emotional devastation instead of needling at ancient grudges demonstrates stunning growth transcending past interpersonal dysfunctions, applauded royal author Anna Percy. This loss might paradoxically bring William and Harry closer as two English patriots still intimately bonded through the beautiful game.